Hey guys, welcome to the arcade and thank you very much for joining me tonight. So I thought we'd kick off tonight. I know it was away sort of last week. I was kind of enjoying myself in the arcade, which is something I tend to forget about doing, to be perfectly honest. A lot of the times when I'm out here, I'm usually filming things that, trying to get videos done. Often I do forget that I can just take time and relax and play some awesome games, and that's what I did last week, and it was very, very cool. So this week I thought I would come back to you and yes, give a bit of an update as to what I'm doing around here, because I've got a few projects on the go that I'm trying to get done, and talk a little about what's coming up from various places, really. I suppose first thing I wanted to touch on is the Black Friday sales that we've seen here in the UK. Um, Honestly, there hasn't been, there wasn't an awful lot of ones I would say were great. If I can just pull up a couple of what we saw. Um, Again, it's a bit confusing when we look at the likes of Game and Liberty and things like that. And I'll show you because it will probably make a little bit more sense. So if we pull it up in front of us here, so Game, wow, I've lost the web browser. That was just awesome. I had this all set before we went live, and now it's decided it's going to shit itself on me. There we go. So there we go. There's Game up at the moment. So as you can see, these are the New Wave Toys products that we talked about a couple of weeks ago, and you can see that some of them are still marked down as £100, but they've lost their little sale icon. Strange. And they've added a couple of extra ones here, so you can pick up the Dragon's Lair with a little light up, or at least I think it's a light up keychain. Let me have a little look just to double check on that. I'm almost certain this takes a wee battery. Yes, it is. It's an illuminated coin return button. I do think it's really cool because it's the British version, because you've got the 20p on it. So I really do like that. 15 quid's a wee bit much for a keychain, but it's definitely something very cool and niche for arcade enthusiasts. So like I said, yes, you can get different wee ones, different deals, and if you want, you can get a little keychain along with it. One thing to let's see, yes, this one here. One thing to watch out for: Space Ace Replicade, £100. Space Ace Replicade with a £15 keychain, £157.57. So yeah, they've let the intern do the prices again, and as there is absolutely no one at game that you can talk to. It's all has to be done by a bloody chat bot. You can't tell anyone that they've got their shit wrong, and they'll not figure it out. So, yes, like I say, this is meant to be their kind of sale, although it's a bit misleading. You can't actually tell that it's a sale, and the same goes true for their machines that are on sale. So you can see you've got Centipede here for 250 quid. Not too bad actually. It's quite a good one. However, up until about a week ago, they had the special offer banner on them and they've disappeared. So it's quite difficult to tell what is on sale. Now we do have a nice wee one from if you're a fan of Evercade. So you can pick up 2 Evercade cartridges for £30. Now that includes the just released ones and actually the ones that are on pre-order as well. So if you are a fan of Evercade, because there's Full Void, which is kind of just about to be released, but there's a couple other ones there that are still on pre-order that you can stick your name down for as well, and you'll still get the deal for 2 for £30. So definitely worth having a little look there. But like I say, other machines here, there's 250 for NFL Blitz, but no sale or special offer or anything like that. So a little bit confusing. Jumping over to Smiths, only one product from them actually went on to a sort of sale, and it was Miss Pac-Man. It fell by 50 quid. So 299, 300 for the Miss Pac-Man Cabaret edition. The wood effect on the side. Very, very funky, cool looking cabinet. And if I didn't have my my Pac-Man over there, I would be considering getting that, because the game, it's just that the games list is very similar between these two cabinets. The only real difference is the marquee title itself, Miss Pac-Man or Pac-Man, although I think that one has Rolling Thunder on it, which is very cool. Very, very cool game. So if you're a fan of Miss Pac-Man, have a little look over at Smith's. Unfortunately, Big Blue didn't go on sale. Kind of was hoping for that. The 3 remaining legacy cabinets, they didn't go on sale at all. I don't really know why on that. Smiths have been having a big sale on at the moment, Black Friday and the run up to Christmas. So I was kind of expecting a little bit more from them. Quirky, they are still completely absent. I've tried reaching out to them a couple of times. They've just stopped answering. I don't have a clue what's going on with them in regards to arcade machines. It's still all listed on their website. However, they just have nothing in stock, but they have stopped responding as to what could be coming up or anything along those lines. So we just don't know what they're doing, and I guess that will continue until until they decide that they want to answer their emails or jump online and update their their Facebook page or anything along those lines. We do have a couple of other ones that are sort of still selling, but there wasn't much in the way of sales. Argos, kind of stuff comes and goes from them, but there hasn't been much on there in the last couple of weeks. It's just disappeared again. We did have a few things in from them. I think they're just getting the stock in as and when they can. There was a few ones marked down, but it's difficult to sort of nail it down. And then we had Amazon, which I was hoping for something good coming out of it. Again, I would have said sort of lackluster. You got the Fast and the Furious there for 510. Ooh, excuse me. Star Wars 560. We've seen it lower. We've seen it a lot lower. Pac-Man Deluxe, which is 500. That's a lot. That's a lot for a big cabinet. And I know it's if it was the XL one, I would probably say it was worth it. But it's just the Deluxe. It's It's the same kind of size as the legacy machines. It's just in a different form factor. So 500 is just too much for that. And yeah, I know this is kind of par for the course for Arcade One Up at the moment. 500 plus for a machine. No, it's too expensive. Uh, that I thought was actually quite surprising. The Infinity Game Board dropped a couple of quid. That's only just out, so it was kind of nice to see that they're maybe trying to push this. It's an interesting product, and if it comes down a decent amount, I would be interested in having a little look at it. But for now, still too high for me, so I will pass on that. And if anyone is after a couch kid, yes, you can still pick them up for 86 quid. Although if anyone does want one of those things, just just get one of those console X boxes. Not just the cheapy kind of ones that you get with two remote controllers, and stick that into, because you can pick one of them up for about 30-40 quid. That's not worth it at all. So yes, the sales were a wee bit lackluster for us in the UK, which I kind of was expecting. We don't usually get the same kind of deals that the Americans and the Canadians are used to. In fact, if you told most of them what we're actually paying for machines, you know, they would be very very surprised at the prices that we're getting. It's a bit unfortunate. So moving on to the kind of news that we've been seeing in the last couple of weeks. So we did talk about the rumors coming out of Arcade One Up in regards to Alien versus Predator. I'm still quite hopeful on that, although nothing else has been seen or heard about it. So it's vaporware at this stage. Some have alluded that it was taken down because it may have messed up a deal in progress, and somebody at Arcade One Up has reached out and asked politely, take it down. We're trying to make this happen. Now, if that is true, happy days. It was a bit of a strange one that it went up and then came down. Most of the people that like to leak this kind of information, they like to get out there and keep it out there for everyone to see, which is great. So it was a bit odd to see it to see it come down. Like a lot of these leaks, there was one last year when they talked about a Sonic machine, from Sega, and it was leaked, and there was images, and there was, the machine itself actually appeared in a video during a tour of a pop up shop that Arcade One Up had done, and it was there, and we talked about it, and it never came about. So this could have been just one of those machines that they tried, it didn't work, or retailers didn't want it, and they've scrapped it. So these things do happen. We do put up these videos with information of cabs that never see the light of day. There was talk of a Double Dragon one at one stage. There was talk of a track and field machine at one stage. Neither of those have been seen yet. We've talked about them quite extensively last year and the year before. But this is just the way things go. The Alien vs Predator one, the information has been taken down along with the images that were grabbed at the time. Whether or not it means anything, I can't say, but I'll be keeping my eye open for anything that sort of comes our way, and hopefully it is legitimate, because I would love. Excuse me. Definitely gonna do these streams earlier. Good grief. Yeah, definitely. I would really love to pick one of those up. So hopefully it is real, and we'll see something more come out about that. But moving on, there has been an announcement or announcement. Is it fair to say it's an announcement? It's kind of one that that sort of appeared over the last over the last week, we've got the guys over at Unico. Um, they are looking to put out a new product now. The Unico, if you're not familiar with them, they were the guys that made the MVSX and also this little Neo Geo Mini. So you can actually pick up the Mini on Amazon. It appears on sale quite often. The MVSX was a great machine for its time, and it was a like an absolute showrunner for a long time. The big problem with it was there was no way of getting new games onto it. So once you kind of purchased it, that was it. You were done. There was nothing else you could really do. But it looked absolutely cracker. I really wanted to get my hands on one of these a few years back. It was a bit expensive at the time. There was a great little hack that could be done to add games to it, so that was a little bit of a bonus. However, that one became very difficult to get your hands on. The high-low hack seemed to have sort of disappeared unless you knew someone who actually knew how to do it and get you the stuff. It was I tried for a while and it was very difficult to get the stuff needed to do it. And again, over here it is a lot more expensive than over in the States. But a great game, and especially if you loved fighters, because this thing was just chock full of them. There was so many King of Fighters games on that machine. So this was the one that they brought out a few years ago, the MVSX. Kind of looks like a Western arcade, although it is really just a bar top with a big stand, kind of like the way that iArcade did, a bar top with a big stand to make it into more of a Western looking arcade machine. However, they are announcing a new machine. Now, there's not an awful lot of information about it on their website. I believe they're looking to go live with pre-orders in the next month or so. So there's nothing really up here in regards to it. But it is not that. Yes. So it's the this is what the renders are kind of looking like at the moment. I think this is one that Ralph maybe put together. So it is called the Nova Blast Candy Kid, and it's meant to be made out of. No, actually, that's a screenshot from an image. I apologize. Um, so it is going to be made out of metal rather than the normal wood that we would see on Western cabinets. It's going to be the same as the MVSX. So if you can imagine where my cursor is, kind of here, it's going to cut off. So it's going to sit on. It's going to be a bar top with a big stand again. So you can have it in one of two iterations. However, the stand isn't going to be as big as as the MVSX. It's going to be a proper candy kid, and this is where it's a bit cloudy for me. I think it's a good idea, but I am just not a fan of candy kids. I don't. I just don't like their style, their look. It's not because the machines themselves are bad. I just think they're bland and uninteresting. Whereas if you went into an arcade in the 80s over here, you walked in and you saw the amazing artwork on these machines, the marquees, the shapes of the cabinets. Now, granted, they weren't all unique. There was a lot of them that reused cabinets. So Capcom reused Dynamo and the Z-Back and things like that. And there was that big, sort of chunky Mortal Kombat machine that got you reused by Midway and over in. But these, you walked into, if you see like arcades in Japan, things like that, where they just use candy kids, they're all the same looking. and you sit down to play them, which I cannot get round. I'm playing these machines. I have a stool there, and that stool is just for my son, uh, so he could sit and get up to the controls. But now he's getting a bit taller. He's able just to use like a little step, things like that. I don't like sitting down to play these games. I would much rather stand. I just it, it may take off. I may get this completely wrong. The the saving grace of this sort of machine, and the way they're going to be doing things is it is going to be very much like a candy cab, whereas whereby you are getting the shell of this machine. It's going to have the sticks and buttons, which are looking to be Sanwa, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was information that was released and is legitimate. So that's high end. That's high end buttons and sticks in there. The 24-inch monitor. You can rotate the. I'm not entirely sure if it's rotating the monitor as a whole, or it's rotating the bezel to cut off, and but it can go from vertical to horizontal and back again. So you can set it up whichever way you want it. The speakers are all there, but the internals aren't. There's no PCB, there's no memory holding the games or anything like that. It's bring your own. So what you'll be doing there is you'll be installing something like a mini PC, or a Raspberry Pi if you wanted to go in that direction, and you'll be running it that way. So this Candy Kid is just a shell, and it's things that have been done before. I mean, the Candy Kid stuff has been around for a while. These are the kind of things that you would see, and this is the stuff I'm talking about. They're all the same. I'm sorry. Like, they're just all the same, and they are quite expensive, to be um, perfectly honest. So I mean, this is something you can pick up, or you could. Over here, it's quite difficult to find a candy cab. Again, I just don't think that it caught on, and many people over here would have gotten any. I know Base Arcade have a few, and they swap out the games in there because it's easy to do. That is the joy of these candy cabs. You can just rip out the internals and put some new game in there quite easy, because you're not having to mess with the marquee. You're not having to mess with the artwork. You're just going inside and swapping out whatever you want. And Unico are they're going back to the Unico's one. You can put it in as a mini PC, but it's also going to be taking JAMA hardware as well, so you can put in a legitimate board in there, and run it that way. Uh, just realized that I haven't set up my thing for highlighting chat. 1 second. Sorry, Arcade Fury, I know you're there. One moment. This thing is going to be the death of me. I was not ready at all. I, I went to get everything set up today and found out that the little account that I use for my overlays has decided that they want to go with a premium model, and yeah, and I have to pay for them now, and I didn't want to do that, so I went, stuff it, I'll figure out something else. And it doesn't seem to be working for me. At least, yeah. Screw it, let me see if I can read it. This Candy Cab kit is perfect for me, as I've been sitting on 20 original JAMA PCBs with nothing to play them on. As long as it's cheap and it has a CRT scanline filter, I'll be getting one. That's That's absolutely awesome. Yeah, for someone like yourself who's got the JAMA PCBs, then this is going to be absolutely right up your alley. You mentioned cheap. Um, hmm, I can't see it being. I, I'll give an estimate. It's going to be over £1,000. Um, and I don't know who's going to be the retailer over here or who's going to try and supply that. I think it's like a candy cab. It's very niche, so I could imagine it's going to be Liberty that's going to pick that up, if anyone. I can't see the likes of Game or anyone like that doing it unless Unico decide they're going to sell directly on Amazon. But I can see this machine being quite pricey, which may put a few people off. But yes, definitely for someone like yourself who's got those JAMA PCBs, this is an excellent idea. Now, it's not anything particularly new. Like I say, you can pick these things up, although they're harder to get in the UK. But occasionally you find someone like this who's trying to sell off a Vulix. Um, this is just another version of a candy cab. He's running it through a PC in the in the bottom, so he's got a keyboard and all hooked up into it. They're grand for what they are, and you can play a lot of really cool games on them. You can set them up in multiple different ways using various hardware, and so they are kind of cool, but I just think they're bland. I know, I'm sorry. I just think it's just the way I am, and I don't think I'll get past that. Um, I think it'll be an interesting one for a lot of people. I think there will be a market for it. I think it's whether or not retailers realize that people know what these are and will pick them up. That's going to be the problem unless Unico sell directly through Amazon or sell directly through themselves and ship out to the UK, which is going to be a bit of an ask. So, as a bit of a segue, so we've spoken about how you could. I've just realised something. Oh, my setup is completely fucked up tonight. Oh, I'm so sorry. The whole overlay thing has really thrown me for a loop. Because normally I just sign in, reset my counter, and then I'm good to go. Today, signed in, and they asked me for a subscription, so it just I didn't get any email or anything to say that they were changing their pricing structure or their subscriptions or anything else. I was happy enough on the free one, and yeah, apparently they just told me that my 15-day free trial has expired. I've been using them for what, a year and a half. So fuck it. I'll figure out another one. That's why my counter for the start of the show was completely different, because I had to scramble and find something really quickly. So it's really knocked me for a loop. Yes, so looking at ways of powering your candy cab if you were going to pick one up. So as Arcade Fury mentioned, the Unico one for certain will take JAMA. So if you've got a proper, arcade boards and a JAMA harness, you can plug them in here, and you'll be able to run them into your candy cab, which is a way that a lot of people actually make use of candy cabs. Like I said, the guys up in BS Arcade, they have about 3 or 4 of them, and they just swap out the PCBs as they need them and want to change up the games. But you can do things like adding in a mini PC, and the guys over on Pandori over the last few months have been reviewing some of the smaller mini PCs that you can get your hands on, and there's some really good deals. Like this one from B-Link The S12, the Mini S, is, well, they put it up as £155. Sorry, $155. So when I went to check it out, it's actually gone up in price a little bit. So this is it over on AliExpress. So it's £118.82. So 119 plus. Oh, it's free shipping now. That had changed. When I went on earlier, it was about £6 shipping, but it's running an N100 Intel chip in there. This one isn't. Sorry, the one I've selected is the N95. You can get it with an N100, but the N95 is pretty beefy for emulation. So for 120 quid, it's not too shabby. And the way they actually reviewed it, they put it through its paces, running quite a number of modern-ish games. There's Streets of Rage running on this machine, and it seems to be running really, really smoothly. So if I was going to be picking one of these things up, I'd probably be wanting to use it for Polycade, and I think it would work quite well. There's a number of games that I would want to put on, but nothing too graphically challenging. So I think I would definitely want to put on something like Full Void, which may be the one that would give the most bother, just because of the animation that they use. It's very it seems quite involved, so that might be a choke point. But I would be using other things like Dave the Diver, those kind of games. Something that's not. I'm certainly not going to be playing like Modern Warfare or anything like that on it. I'll be playing games like this. This would be absolutely awesome. That's actually, they're running GTA 5, although it is on 720 on that. They did pull it down, but for 118 quid, that isn't too bad. And like I say, you can chuck it into your Candycade, and away you go. That is a legitimate way of running these through. And this was just one of the ones that they had a look at. So this was the one from B-Link. They also looked at GMK Tech's G3, which is their latest version, I believe. It's not out too long, so you can get the bare bones variant for $150. Plus at the moment you can get $30 off. It's free worldwide shipping, and I'm pretty sure, yes, this one does use the N100, so you're looking at something pretty decent there as well. I mean, it's a little mini PC, but if you were using it for emulation, I mean, it comes with Windows 11 on it, so for me, running Polycade wouldn't be an issue. But you can easily run Batocera on there, boot it up through, boot up into the Linux partition, do it that way. You're looking at what? Where is the storage? Uh, 32 gig, 256. It's hard to read this one, actually. I'm not entirely sure. That is definitely 256. I don't know what you get with the bare bone. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank here because I can't seem to read it properly. Definitely with the B-Link, you're looking at what, 256 SSD in there, so you've got more than enough space to put a number of things on on there. So if you were using Batocera, I think my SD cards are 128 on my builds, and they hold close to 10,000 games. So I mean, you could put on God knows how much onto these things. Granted, you will be partitioning because you'll still have to have the Windows area on there, but still, I think you could make something really, really cool out of that. And if you had one of those candy cabs, you can put this into it and run it as your heart. Again, I would probably be putting this in. I would be. The way I do things is I go on to like Facebook Marketplace or Gumtree, and I just look for people trying to get rid of non-working cabinets, because I don't care about the screen, because I'll replace that. I don't care about the PCB, because I'm ripping that out and putting something else into it, and the controls, they're easy enough fixed. What I need is the shell, you know. The cabinet itself is what I care about, because I would gut the rest, change the screen for a nice LCD. I'm killing purists right now. CRTs, I could take or leave. They're just too much hassle for me. I would rather have a nice little LCD and maybe just put, you know, like Arcade Fury says, a couple of scan lines onto it. Job's a good one. But yes, the shell is all I really want. I would gut the rest and put in my own stuff, and it could be something like this, or what I'm looking at the moment, which just arrived and I'm hoping to have a little play with over the weekend, the Raspberry Pi 5. So this is definitely going to be a little upgrade to my racing cabinet, which you can't overly see at the moment, and it's probably for the best, because it is just covered in Amazon boxes at the moment. Yes, this is the time of year when the arcade doubles as a storage room for all of the Christmas presents that we're buying. I'm trying to keep it all contained to one section, and unfortunately this year the racer is getting the brunt of it. So there's just boxes stacked on top of the racing chair, and that's going to be the way of it for at least the next month or so, until we get them all sorted out. But yes, I do want to mess around with this. It's meant to be about 2 to 3 times more powerful than the Raspberry Pi 4 variants. I have the 4B, so we'll take that as the lower end, so it'll probably be double the resources that my one would have. Hopefully that means that some of the games that I'm having a little bit of problems with, the sort of encountering slowdown, I certainly get it on 18-wheeler, you know, American Trucker. Every now and then you'll get a bit of a slowdown on there. This could help me out with that. I should be able to run maybe a few other emulator cores that are giving a little bit more of an issue for me. Now that's if I do stick with RetroPie, which I might not, because Batocera has been moving forward with their sort of auto detection kind of plug and play stuff for the steering wheels. I might switch over to Batocera and see how that runs with my numbskull wheel. I know it's not directly compatible, but the numbskull wheel is it's based off, you know, I believe it's based off one of the Logitech ones. I can't think of the name offhand. I'm hoping it kind of gets detected in the same way and it'll set itself up. If it doesn't, no harm, I can still set things up manually. But I'd love to jump in and have that was the thing that was sort of taking so much time, was getting the wheel and the gear stick and everything set up to use on these games. If Batocera does what it says it can and sets most of the stuff up for me, that would be absolutely fantastic. I love that. So I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to get a memory card, going to flash it with Batocera, move the games across, we'll plug it in and we'll see how it goes. Now the casing that I have for the Raspberry Pi 4 won't fit this because it's been moved around and things like that. Because of the higher processing rate on there, I'm probably going to have to install a fan in there as well. I'm going to need active cooling, just to be on the safe side. But I'll get that all sorted. So it is something that I'll be working on. Hopefully I'll be able to come back to you guys and let you know if it's worth the trouble. Definitely for the shooter cabinet, I'm thinking of upgrading that to a mini PC. I've reached the limits to what a Raspberry Pi can do in regards to some of those ones. Some of the emulators just don't like the little ARM processors. It's I'm going to have to go for like an x86 architecture, which would be the N95, the N100s, and things like that, in order to help me run some of the emulators. Certainly the arcade ones, for running House of the Dead, the original one, it is just proving impossible to run properly. So I have workarounds. I'm using Dreamcast ROMs. I'm using Saturn ROMs. I have Virtual Cop all running, and it's great. But it's not the arcade ROM. It's the Saturn ROM. So, you know, things like that I could just improve upon with a mini PC. And like, I did build these things to show that they could be done on the cheap. The Racer I built for under £200. The Sinden, that was about £200 as well, simply because the gun itself is about 120. So they can be built on the cheap. We don't have to pay out the prices that that arcade one-up want us to. I mean, there's Ridge Racer for 650, 700 for Time Crisis. I have Time Crisis running behind me. I picked up a £15 foot pedal, hooked it in along with the Sinden, and it works great. There is no need to be paying that amount, and they're shooting themselves in the foot by doing that, because people will figure out that it's easier to build one of these machines than it is to fork out that amount of money. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be buying these things. It's your money. You do whatever you want to do with them. Certainly for £700, no way. If it was £300, if it was £250, I'd be all over it. Not for 600, not when I can sort of build it myself. Apologies, I'm gonna have to squint again to have a little look here, because I just don't understand why my wee thing is not working. But I wonder if I could. 1 second, I'll try something. Why are you not working for me today? You're just like a pain in my. I am going to have to try and fix that. That's really irritating me that now I can't get my my Twidget's dead to the world. I'll figure that one out. Before the new year, my local university clears out their old PCs. Can't wait. Picked up some great deals last year. That, Hobby Hands, that's a brilliant idea. They get rid of all their old PCs and get in the new ones, and they sell them on. I like that. You could pick up some great ones there, and then you could do whatever you wanted with it. I really do like that. Well, I just don't understand why my I really don't understand why My Twitch is not working. This is killing me. It should be bringing up my stuff, and it's not, and it sucks because I can see your chats here. They just won't show up in my live chat. It has not gone well tonight. Get you back over there. Thank you. Yes, that's a really good idea. I didn't even think of something like that. That would be really cool if we had something like that around here. It would definitely be worth checking out. I think that would you'd be able to pick up a few bits and pieces that you'd be able to use in builds. Certainly, if you were putting them inside a bigger cabinet, you wouldn't care because of the side of them, because you could put them into the bottom of the cabinet. They'd be out of your way, and job's good. I love that. I love that idea. Certainly for some of these ones, I'm trying to keep them as small as possible. But if you were putting them into something of like this form factor, down there, stick into a larger PC, hook in a wireless excuse me, hook in a wireless keyboard and mouse so you could gain control of it. Yeah, and away you would go. That's fantastic. Yes, so I do hope to get the Raspberry Pi toyed around with over the weekend. We'll see if I get anywhere with it, but like I said, the amount of boxes on that machine, it may be a little while before I actually get it hooked in and running. And then the last thing I'm working on is the Grand Blaster cache, the fruit machine that's sort of sitting in front of me here. I was able to get a replacement power supply unit sent out, which has resolved an issue on it. So what was happening was when I was powering up, there was power going to the PCB, the main control board, and then you could hear the speaker clicking, just so with the new power supply, the ticking has stopped, which I'm taking as a step forward. There's still power going to the PCB, but it won't. It won't light up. It won't do anything else. So I actually reached out to a company in the UK, Infinity Office Supplies, and they actually do sell parts for these Belfort fruit machines. So I spoke to the guy Stephen over the last couple of days. He asked me to send out a couple of pictures, and he was able to identify a few issues on the main control board. So I have a new one on the way. We'll get that replaced in there, and hopefully this thing will be up and running, and that'll be another another project sort of done, and I can picked up an old CRT I used for a retro console. They even had two Legend Ultimate game cabs, $100 each for that would have been, what was that, the 1.1? Well, no matter what it was, it's an excellent deal. Why do universities have those? I suppose they're for the common areas, or something like that. But that's a really good deal. Yeah, absolutely. Did you pick the two Legends up, or did someone else grab them? I would have, honestly, I would have picked up both of them, and then I would have done something with them, and maybe sold one on. But yeah, for £100, absolutely, that's a really, really good one. So that's kind of where I am at the moment. The Candy Cab announcement from Unico, I think it's exciting. I'll be interested to see what comes of it, what they're going to do with it, but I don't think it's for me. I think I will gladly sit back and watch people mod these things and do what they want with them. I'll be really I'll be really interested to see what people are going to put in these things and how they're going to get them working. That's the most interesting bit for me. I won't be picking one up myself, I don't think. No, don't have the room, so didn't get them. Oh, that's a shame. $100. That's a hard one to turn down if you kind of know what they are. But yeah, room is the killer. Yeah, I got this is kind of a sidetracker, if you will. I got talking to my wife last week because there's a little. Well, there's two places. There was one is it kind of a shop front, large kind of area, big mezzanine on top. It's not too far away from where we are now. It's kind of like in a commercial little district, a load of shops and warehouses and things like that. So I was actually looking at maybe renting a place round there, and then there was another place in the same area round the back. It wasn't a shop front, it was just kind of a warehouse, but I could use that as like a workshop, somewhere I could actually store all of these things that I'm working on, certainly for the fruit machine, for anything that I'm building, and then kind of sell them on. And like when I looked at some of them, they're about the same price as, a month in, they're about the same price as a mortgage. So if I'm hoping to get ours cleared soon-ish, but it's an interesting thing. Would I be able to do something like that? I don't know. Maybe it's just a pipe dream. Maybe it would need a lottery win. Certainly, I think I would be able to rent the place. I don't think then I would be able to get in any of the tools, the machines, or the projects to work on. So I would have the place and it would be empty. But it was a nice idea to have, because yeah, the room is just an absolute killer. Any project that I try to take on now, it's difficult, and anything that I see that I would love to pick up, it's difficult as well, because I've nowhere to store it until I can get, if I can get Grand Blaster Cash fixed, done up, sold and out, I can bring something else in. But until that happens, there's things that I see on Gumtree and I can't do anything with, because I just don't have anywhere else to store them, and that is always going to be the big problem. But hopefully we'll see some movement with that big beast in the next couple of weeks, and we'll see what happens with it. But yes, candy cabs, they're not for me, but I appreciate what you can do with them. I think Unico's probably onto a winner with doing a home version of it, and hopefully we'll be able to. I did find an old Game Boy original, which I grabbed. Oh, I have my old Game Boy somewhere. The bezel fell off it years ago, so it doesn't have the wee sort of plexiglass thing on top of it, but the Game Boy still works. Like that old it's LCD, isn't it? It is an LCD display, I'm pretty sure. It's old liquid crystal anyway, but yeah, it still works. I still play like Donkey Kong on it, because I've got the cartridge sitting around. I've got Mario 2. Like my son doesn't get it at all, because it's just like it's black and green, and there's no light. It's hard to see the screen. It's like, yeah, this is what we had to put up with. I was like, this is how we gamed on the go back then. I lost mine years ago and have wanted to replace it. It works great. That's fantastic. Oh, this might be kind of, well, I don't know if it'll be interesting for you, but it's so it's a bar in do Come on, where are you? It's a series of arcade bars in the UK, called, oh yeah, there's a good one, NQ64, and there's a guy that works for them. He goes by the handle, I can't remember his proper name, but he goes by the handle Did Someone Say Retro, so you can find him on TikTok and things like that. For one of their places, he built what he calls the Wall Boy. So this is it here. This is the Wall Boy. So it is an old, green LCD display, but it is backlit. But there's no emulation. It's all done through the Game Boy. So the Game Boy is it's running an EverDrive, and it's really just he's taking the display and routing it through into this monitor. The Game Boy itself is still the controller. It is fantastic. I really do think it's an incredible piece of kit. He's done loads of stuff like that. There's another picture there, but for some reason it's not loading up in like a decent way for me. It's all pixelated. There's another one. So I think the Wall Boy is really, really cool, and it runs off a genuine original Game Boy. How cool is that? Anyway, guys, I think I have waffled on long enough tonight. Thank you very much for joining me and everything like that. Hopefully I'll be able to get back on next week. Whether or not I'll do one like this, or whether I'll do some streaming sort of gameplay, I don't know. I do have a few things I want to do for in here. I'm not sure if you can really tell, but that there is a new camera that I picked up in the Black Friday sales. So my old one is sitting here, and what I thought I would do with it, that lens is stinking. What I thought I would do with it is have it sit above my pinball table, and then I could stream it back here. So I'm kind of going to have a little look at getting that set up. I do want to do a little bit more gameplay streaming, especially at the moment, because there isn't an awful lot of news coming out at the end of the year. We may get one more announcement from New Wave Toys before the end of the year. We may not, but I don't think there'll be anything big to report on until the new year. Places will be, starting to slow things down for Christmas and the holidays, so there'll be a lack of things to talk about, which makes me think, get a bit more of a streaming setup again. I did really enjoy doing the pinball stuff before the table shat itself the first time, so I'd love to get something set up, and I think with the spare camera I'll be able to do that. So hopefully next week I'll maybe have something set up like that. If not, we'll do a bit of Dave the Diver maybe. Anyway, thanks very much for joining me tonight, guys, and I will see you all again very soon. Bye bye for now.